Hi guys, so a few days ago I shared on my Instagram a post where I talked about in the caption what happened when I was on nights where we were in Costa waiting for our drinks and then a relative of a patient chased us with two knives. So since posting that, it's reached a number of you who've commented, who have shared your stories. I've spoken with other healthcare workers who shared with me stories from their work. Personally, I feel that no healthcare worker should have to experience. Now, I truly am thankful to God that I'm fine, my colleagues are fine, and we were all able to get on with work and finish that shift, and we were well. I'm truly thankful to God for that. But on deeper reflection, like the days following that, I've been thinking a bit more about that, and I was sort of like, it's so typical of us. By us, I mean like healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, people in a health providing industry to sort of just crack on. That situation is not something that is normal, nor is it something that anyone should be expected to face when they go to work. So I go to work to provide care. I go to work to look after patients. What I don't expect is to be faced with such a situation at work. Workplace safety, safety of staff isn't an important topic. It's crucial, and it's one that deserves attention. So a few people have been asking what actually happened and how can you have been chased at work with someone with two knives, etc., etc., etc. It's real, it happened. So we had decided we were going to go for a coffee break in Costa. On arriving to Costa, there was an individual sat at the table. I had not had any prior interaction with said individual. However, earlier on in the shift, I had been informed by the nursing team on the ward about such individual, I should say said individual, and just to be careful of them. So I thank God that I actually had that warning regarding safety from staff. So as I said, we were now at Costa at the till waiting for our drinks, and the individual who was sitting alone on the table got up and stood to our right. I was aware that someone is standing next to us, but there was nothing at that moment to be worried about. Within seconds, the individual charged across us and entered Costa. So Costa doesn't have, you can just like walk in. There's no door, there's no kind of separation. So said individual just walked in and pulled out two knives from behind where they make drinks, and then immediately started coming to our direction. And for a second, I was like, what? Looked at my colleague and dashed. Just started heading towards the main entrance, which is the exit for the building. As I ran, we all ran together. We then stopped to make sure that all our colleagues were coming with us. As I said, it was a group of us. And as I turned back, individual was still coming towards us. I was like, guys, we need to go out. So we then went outside. We left the hospital ground now, and we were now outside, like outside. We followed the road round. Outside there was a police van, and I don't know what that police van was there for, but I was trying to knock to bring attention to what was actually going on. Knocking. No one was in the van. It was parked. There was no one inside. So just left that. And then we continued walking while running outside now. And individual, we couldn't see them in the distance. So at this point, we are like, what actually just happened? Were we just chased by someone with two knives? Deep hit, right? So we're now back in the hospital, and as I said, we were on a break. We still have our jobs to do. Our bleeps are still going off. Patients, nurses, people need our help, need our attention. Meanwhile, we've just gone through that. So we're walking now, heading back to the hospital. Like walking, approaching, kind of being like, are we safe, you know? So headed back to Costa now to make sure that the Costa staff were okay, because there were two shift workers that I remember being on that night, and the lady looked very startled, scared. She was shocked, you know? So made sure that they were okay. Then as we sat down for a bit, police came and security staff and hospital came. I was now like to the policeman, have you found the person? Did you find the person? And they were sort of like, no, they haven't found them yet. I was thinking, okay, you know. Then they were sort of asking us what happened. We told them the story, and then at that moment an emergency went off, so we had to go and attend that emergency. So that situation, I mean, was scary. And at the time we sort of just continued with our jobs, because as I said, we were on call working nights, and our bleeps were still going on through this. I was then sort of thinking, should this really be part of the job? No, it shouldn't. Now, a few days after the incident, I've sort of had time to kind of process things in my mind over and over and over again. I shared a post on Instagram and it's reached numerous people beyond what I thought. But one thing which has stuck out to me is conversations which have happened as a result of that post, comments as a result of that, and just more deeper reflection on the seriousness, of this topic. 1 in 7 frontline NHS staff in the 2024 survey reported physical harassment from patients, from their relatives, and from members of the public. Now, this is just not on. When we go to work, as anyone should in their workplace, it is key, it is important that we feel safe. So guys, if you're an NHS staff watching this, you're doing amazing, you're doing a great job, just to tell you that in case you didn't know. Importantly, stay safe at work, stay vigilant, and yes, these things don't happen often. This is the first time I've experienced such thing in my life, and I pray that I never experience anything like this again. Above all else, stay safe.